I need to get this on tape.
Yeah.
So.
Let's go downstairs.
Okay.
You know, and Low Bates, actually his sister and brother-in-law have that grove now, don't
Yeah, yeah. I tried to buy it and couldn't get the financing on it, and come to find out with this greening, it done me a favor. That's my grandmother and grandfather's wedding picture. We're our family tree is a straight line. They were born.
I saw
Did
that.
you see that? And they did what, and they found someone that said, okay, we want to maximize the marketing of this. You just don't dump them all on the market at once.
I meant to show you that old book. The end of it's off. I got it sitting on the end up there, and that thing, I'm afraid to take it out because it'll fall apart the way it is.
Oh, don't
But
worry
it's
about it. This is.
it's a world atlas put out by Grimm, Grimm.
House or something.
You're right.
I said, I don't think we
Okay.
have that problem.
You ever heard of them?
Well, Grimm's fairy tales. That's the only one I've heard of.
Well, it's here.
Oh yeah, let's get that for sure.
These, I was going to take them in there and show you how they work, but this one here is kind of a unique little deal. You know why they give a Pollock 20-minute lunch break? So they don't have to retrain him. That's me. That's the way that thing works. You put it in there and turn the handle. It didn't even have a patent date on it. And I found this in that old store over there just before they closed it up. It's quite a unique one. Here's I'm telling you wrong. This one here's the one I got in the store. No patent date, and it didn't have this piece in there. And I looked, and it's the same thing as a juicer. They never changed them. So this is a patent of that first juicer made in about 1880s. They're pretty slick. This thing here turns. Anyway, you lift it up, put the orange in, take your finger and push down on it and turn it. That's an old one there. I had these down there showing them to them. I took the handle off some of them. This one here, it hung on the wall like that. Take your orange, turn it, pour it out in your cup. That was a pretty slick one there.
I think so.
Anyway, Golden Gem stuff. There's two of their picking bags. Down there's their burlap bags they use to put the feed in, and it's just a conglomerate. And those bottles up there are anything to do with orange juice. Well, everything in there is to do with orange juice somehow or another. These, let me move some of this stuff here around a bit. Here was before the turn of the century, number 22. That one there is Theodore Strom's. I got about 6 or 8 of them. Theodore Strom was so damn cheap he didn't put much of us with him once in a while. He'd come over here with James Sutton and eat breakfast down there, and James would call me up. Now you talking about me being a damn character? I don't hold a candle to Theodore Strom.
Well, Sutton was,
Multi-millionaire.
Sutton was a pretty good character
God
himself.
knows how many acres of land they own. There's no way of knowing. That 5,000 out there on the cutoff it goes across.
Seminole Springs.
Yeah, that's where he's buried. Got a cemetery with a stone up. You ever see it?
Yep, I go by there every time I go pick my granddaughter up at school.
No, but have you seen his tombstone?
Well,
It looks like the Statue of Liberty. No, looks like Washington Monument. And on the top of it is a bouquet of orange bloom. And it says Strom. And then all of them are buried, John and all of them are buried out there right beside it.
and I've been to the property a couple of times, but I haven't.
Did you ever know Junior Shenan? I knew him well because I farmed out there on Lake Tracy.
Oh, okay.
And about time he killed Kenneth Bagwell through the screen wall out there. That's what I took. This is a book that it's the Owens Brothers, and it's from 1890 to 1894, the freeze, and it tells how much the kegs cost, how much the packing was, where they came from, Mr. Wilson and the whole smear. but it only lasted to 94. You know why?
It was freezing 80, 95.
Yep, it put everybody out of business. This was the predecessor of Umatilla citrus growers. When they had their 100th centennial, they invited Mom and I to come, and we put on a display. And the old boy that reaches through the orange tree, I met him down there. That's one of the nicest guys you ever. Farmer Dave. Remember Farmer Dave? You ever see him?
I didn't know.
But anyway,
It was a precursor to Golden Gem. It wasn't, was it Grand Island?
well,
What was?
I'm gonna show you the whole history on in a minute. See that?
Yeah.
He was the damn chief.
Yeah,
He wouldn't.
Yeah,
He wasn't gonna put no big label. That box right there is probably.
the Flagler, right? I mean, that's what the guy told me. that
Well,
they were-
some of them. We were going to. I was on the original board to start Pioneer Ark Settlement. You ever been up there?
Mhm.
There was about 10 of us. We started Lakeview Retirement Center, Boys Ranch, and that up there in '71. Mama said, "I wish to hell you'd get a paying job," you know.
I understand that.
Anyway, we got the turpentine still. Mr. Youngblood hauled that in from Tomoka, and we got the depots and all that kind of stuff. Just move whatever you need. You can't make a picture of.
Uh-oh.
Jerry the other day, I seen him last time, just before he left. Well, it was a winter garden. He come out there with 2 brown bags about that long. And there was something in it. And he said, "I got something for you." He said, "You're always giving me something here." And he said, took one up to Tallahassee. He said, "There's only 10 of them, I think, or something like that in the world." And he said, I asked them if they wanted it, and they said, "Yes, that's part of history. So come here and I'll show it to you."
Okay.
I framed it.
It is.
That one right there, John, over here. See it? You might get us lynched.
It is part of history, though.
This is the way I do my labels. I'm going to show you some in there, but there's Farmer John.
Oh, okay. I've not met him before.
Yeah. This is, I hunt around and find the packing houses. There's a letter, 1880s, on Umatilla. These are all, and then,
That is exactly what I've been looking for. Oh, my gosh.
yeah, then there's a Umatilla bell. That's a rare label right there. And you know, when they tore that packing house down, the city of Umatilla was blowing everywhere, those labels. And Helen Scott, my best friend up here at Pittman, she died here a few years ago. Was a label collector too. She had a fistful of them. And
Okay.
you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I know, but I was wondering if that lady did. They wrapped every orange individual in these things, put them in a keg, put moss around them, loaded them on a steamship, sent them north. They went as far as Jacksonville on a steamship, and then they caught another fast one, went to New York.
How long did the trip take?
How long did it take them? 2 days. A steamship, the DeBerry, which was the big one, okay, it left Sanford at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And in the morning, you would wake up in Jacksonville. That's over 100 and what, 13, 14 miles, something like that. And they made that run in that length of time.
Wow.
And they'd haul anywhere from 500 to 1,500 boxes of oranges, plus 250 people. It was, and you know what would be fun? You would enjoy this. Catch a boat, and come to Astor. Catch a train, St. John's Lake Eustis Railroad. There was hotels everywhere all the way along. Altoona had one, Pittman had one, Ravenwood had one, and so forth. Come scooting along down this way, go to Fort Mason, catch a boat again, paddle wheeler, go around up the Ocklawaha River and come back. You know, that would have been a...
Dan Smith, the Smiths in Umatilla, Dan worked with the National Weather Service.
Yeah.
He was a big paddle wheel, is a big paddle
He wrote
wheel.
The Alligator.
Yeah.
I've got that whole series of stuff that he wrote. Directed from that paper I gave you. That's the way it looked.
Oh, then,
That right there in your hand.
yeah.
You need more light on it?
This was in the barbecue joint.
Hanging up there. And I asked the lady what you wanted for it, and she said, honey, if you can get it off the wall, you can have it. And that thing had grown in that wall. It's been there ever since '91. It was a post office and so forth. You can see where I messed around and tore it loose up on top up there because I couldn't get it stapled up. There was a sign painter in Leesburg, and he would put up signs for Minute Maid. And if you look real close, you see numbers all over that thing. And he would draw that out, and then the color paint he would match to that number. Remember the one that used to go into Snowcroft had down there at going into Leesburg on the right-hand side? This old boy painted that. And you know Bob Cawthorn, don't you? Well, him and I helped start the Hysterical Society in Tiberias, and it was hysterical. Miss Grace Parker would say something, and Miss Johnson from Claremont would jump up. No, hell, it wasn't, and the war would be on. 30 minutes arguing where an old house was that burnt down, and nobody even knew it was there. There it says G&S Packers in Wearsdale. Everybody thinks that meant
Scales.
Yeah, Keith Scales and that family, but it wasn't.
It was this George Slade's family. But G&S Packing is the biggest gift fruit shipper for years and years.
Yeah.
Pete Spike leases it now and runs it still as a gift fruit shipper. The table that we have
Right.
came from the Railway Express office there in Wearsdale that shipped out all that gift fruit that they
That's
were
how we
putting up.
started gift fruit packing, back in 52, 53. I was about 10 years old.
But see,
And,
when one outfit would be successful, then a lot of others would grow around it,
Yeah.
and they shipped an awful lot of gift fruit out of Wearsdale,
Still do.
and still
They
have
still- yeah,
several,
they still
several
do.
places up there. And back then, the Railroad Express officer got paid based upon the volume of fruit he did, and that was one of the largest paying Railway Express offices in the country because of all the good fruit. Is that from the Railway Express office?
All over the United States for about 5 years, I think. Every town, and then there's a book here too. I got a bunch of these books and stuff.
Oh, Railway Express agency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
This tells you all the towns and the route sheets and so forth, whatever numbers. Isn't it? I don't have my glass on. Am I telling you right?
yeah.
What year is this one? 50 something?
This one is 60.
60? All right. They go back to like 50, I don't know, I think 57, 58, somewhere along in there. They're 1921. They're autographed by Mrs. Langford, who's Carl Langford's wife.
The hotel, Carl's wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're people of interest that was in all kinds of business, their names and so forth. There's a series of 2 of them.
Oh, history of Orange County.
And when Henry Self passed away, Miss Self called me up and she said, come down here, honey. And I got off down there and she said, give me $50. And I bought a room like this, slam full. It had the original Masonic Lodge, which I'm not a member. I didn't even read it. I put it all in a box, give it to them. It had a American Legion. This was my godfather. And his name was Dr. Charles Demko. There's some labels. He had one of the first concentrate plants actually in the state. And in 1924 or 26, I don't remember which, the World's Fair in St. Louis, he had that product on that. And this is, he was wrapped up in everything. There's his obituary. There's a book he wrote on grapes. University of Florida published that one. There's one of his labels. There's a grape label. There's one orange spread. When I was a kid, that thing was still over there pretty well. And my dad had 5 acres of sorghum. We made syrup out here. And I was just a kid. And my mom never threw nothing away in her life. And she saved all the skimmings, and they all went to wine, and the chickens got drunker than hell. And I had to stay in the bedroom, and they sobered up. That old rooster, he'd stand there and look at them hens. I guess they look pretty good, you know. And I'd holler at Ma, and she'd say, "Get in your bedroom." Anyway, this is all Demco stuff. Did you know her? She just passed away. Dillard.
Which one?
She lived over in Wearsdale. You recognize that packing house? Huh? They tore it down. It was right there on the corner where the old boy sells peanuts.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The auction barn.
That's it. Douglas owned that packing house. But up here, you done? Killarney?
Oh, that was the Clarny, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's Killarney's postcard.
Right.
Okay. This thing here I found at the flea market in Tavares, and the box over it was made in 1930, and it was used for the fruit fly when it came through in the 30s. And they had to roll. Bob told me all about it, about Bob Cawthorn. They put the thing in there, and then they would show people what.
Oh, it's a film strip. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This here engines was prototypes that a friend of mine made, and when he passed away, his wife asked me, "Anything in the house you want?" And I said, "Yeah, them engines." And he made these things with a lathe. But this is for the first packing house. This was the workhorse steam engine.
Steam engine.
And then this one here was on ship, and that was the water pump. This one here was the one the paddle wheelers used, walking beam they called it. In the hundreds by the Scotchman. And they would stick this out the end of the building, had plenty of coal. And they built a fire. And as it cooled and heated, it would create 25 horsepower, and they pumped water out of coal mines in Scotland with it. This was
That's a reamers that they would.
Oh, a big one. Wow.
the state inspectors. They used them when they run their test. That's what they would use. And then they had this colander, and they had that. Down there someplace is the tubes.
We have the whole fruit.
I've got.
Ellis gave us that whole fruit testing kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to get it on record as what it is.
Oh, okay.
Since he's pointing at it.
Yep.
There's the tube to your right. The beaker, is that what you're looking for, the beaker?
What that? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
beaker's what they use to titrate the acid to get the.
I run the lab at Golden Gym for 4 years. I can tell you all about the sex life of Luganost stock, bacilli, and yeast. That's the only thing there is in orange juice. If anybody tells you any different, they're telling you a lie. Of the whole thing. And I made $1.60 an hour. Worked from 7 at night to 7 in the morning, and then they gypped you out of a damn hour because you had to come in a half hour early and leave a half hour late for the other crew.
You work in the lab?
I run the lab. I was in full charge of it.
Yeah.
Bob, Don Miller was my boss. You remember him? This was in the 60s when they first started the concentrate plant up. I didn't know nothing about it. Danny Hollinger told me, he said, "You need to go down there." And I said, "I don't know a damn thing about that." "Well, you need to go anyway." Well, the upshot of it was I got down there, and he told me 14 reasons why he was going to hire me, and I was telling him 15 why I didn't know nothing, you know. He said, "Can you read?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You got any education?" I said, "I went 1 year in the University of Florida, and good Lord brought me home in 57 pruning orange trees, and I never went back," which is a fact. And he said, "I want you in here in the morning, 7 o'clock. I said, "Mr. Miller, I've told you every way in the English language. I don't know a damn thing about this, you know." He said, "You're who I'm hunting for." Got out his college books, had everything underlined. After about 4 weeks, he gave me a test end of the day. After about 4 weeks, he said, "If the top blows off the damn thing, it's yours. Bye, I'm going home." And I run it for 4 years. That was my education. $1.60. They talked for about a year about we were going to get a raise. We got a nickel on the hour. Anyway.
Plant. Wasn't he the guy that, wasn't there a guy by the name of Crawford that ran that?
Yeah. I don't know if he was in the quality control. If he was, it was after I was there.
Okay.
That name sounds familiar though, but I'm not sure. I don't really know.
I came to Lake County in '68. So.
Hell, you ain't even dry behind the ears yet.
I didn't have much to do with the processing plant until later on, until they got the big storage tanks in and all
Well,
that stuff.
I've got a Walker. It was made in Lakeland, and it was a low temp. They pulled the vacuum with about 10,000 gallons every 10 minutes, letting it fall, and that made the vacuum. And it pulled 28 something pounds, you know, pretty. Well, the juice boiled at 80 degrees, and it was the finest juice you ever, but it was inefficient. So they tore it out, and Skinner put his in, which was a high temp, and it cooked the juice off at about I don't know, 110, 15 degrees, something like that. But then you had to put the esters back in it because you had to take the esters out, save them while you were doing the cooking, you know, put the esters back. And that juice wasn't worth near the quality the old Walker was. But it was 4 years of fun, you know. The only problem was I just first married and that messed up my nightlife.
Yeah.
You ever see one of them?
Coca-Cola. What is this? New grape.
There's one in there, it's a lime cola, and the other one's a grape cola.
That's a grape one.
Now look and see where it's made. Tip the bottle up. You never drank Coca-Cola, apparently.
Eustis, Florida. Was that the old processing plant out there on? No.
Nope. That was in Donna Vista. It sat across the railroad track from Keys. My grandfather wired the thing. Then it burnt down. They all claimed him as them.
That's not right.
I think depression had something to do with it. But they made two of these. And I pulled these up out of the garage floor. They used them for ballast when they poured the cement. And I tore the old barn down at my granddad's, and that was in it. I gave 3 or 4 of them away to different places, but they were. You remember that?
No.
They were made in Wildwood.
Vino
Punch. That's the best damn grape drink you ever drank in your life. I looked all over, and I was up in Ocala at the flea market, and this old boy had that thing, and I said, "What would it take for me to buy that?" And he said, $5. I said, "I would have given you 10 if you'd have said it."
but it's only worth 2 cents.
That we got off that map there. And the ones with the X is the ones we had the pictures of. And there's on this side. And then there's some here that we got off the 1878 post office registered. But there's no sign of them whatsoever anymore.
Can you explain your project? Just
Yeah,
in
give
a-
us a bit background so we can get that on the film. Let me go. Wait,
Do what?
She said, can you explain your project?
My project?
Yeah, just tell us, give
Just
us
like
the
a sentence
background.
or two about just one statement of what you're doing.
Oh, well, where my drink at?
In there?
What this consists of is all the towns in the state of Florida that we could find that we know about that have anything to do with an orange. The name of the town, like Orange Mills, Orange Hill, Orange Dale, Orange Bluff, whatever. They're all there, and we got them off that map. And it took a while with Mom and I with a magnifying glass looking. So then we got the wild idea, well, let's go find them. And that's a little easier said than done. The town of Orange, for an example, this is how many packing houses was in Lake County. 1967. Okay. You probably would never guess my name is Eugene Graham, huh? We found that. Okay, now, Fruit Cove, for an example. That's on the St. Johns River, south of Jacksonville, on Highway 12. Want me to do it this way? How about that? Will that work better? Okay, Fruitland Park, we know where that one's at. Citrus Park, that's down near Tampa, just before you get into Tampa on 301. Here's one here that we never even knew existed, orange hammock. Everybody had an orange hammock, but this one here is for real. And it's about halfway between Bunnell and Crescent City, whatever that road number goes through there. We were out humming along because our daughter lived up there at the time, and what was the name of that thing? Where she lived, Palm Coast.
Coast.
Yeah, she lived in Palm Coast, so we take the back roads to go up there. And I'll be darned, here this was. Excuse me, I got hiccup. One of these days we're going back up there and blow this thing up so that it's regular size. If you hear something, that's my hearing aid. Anyway, there's Orange Heights. That's on 301. This one here is Port Orange. And if you read this is the depot. It's still standing, beautiful little building. It's got the date on it there. What is it, Mama? 1887 or something?
1894.
1894? Well, that's when it was built. There's when the town of Port Orange came about. There's a date on it someplace. Port Orange. Island Grove on 301. Orange Springs. This one here was a hard one. We went up there 3 times to make that picture and still never got one that's really good. It's straight south of Dothan, Alabama on 231 in a little town called Alfred. You ever heard of that one? Well, if you go to Alfred, turn right, go 8 miles, you're going to find Orange Hill. And that was the biggest satsuma block in the state of Florida at the time. And it froze out. And they planted tung oil, where they jumped out of the fat in the fire because that didn't last long either. Now they're growing Yankees on it. Citrus Hills, this is the newest one of all of them. That's over towards Dunedin. Orange City, we know where that one's at. Orange Mills. Orange Mills is on at Hastings, just off out of Palatka. You familiar with that one? Orange Dale. Now here's a tricky one here. There's 2 Orange Dales in the state of Florida. There's one on 12 north of Palatka, and we'll get to the other one in a minute. Well, we already are. There's the other one. That's in Polk City. And we had one hell of a time finding that place. Finally, there was 2 ladies come along, and they realized that we was out of town and dead lost, didn't know where we was at. We asked them where Orange Dale was, and they said it would be easier for us to go show you than it is to tell you. And they did. But we'd have never found it. But there's nothing there. This,
How long have you been working on this project?
what, 2 or 3 years? Not no more than that, I don't think.
Well,
We done records up to then.
There's Fruitland.
Yeah, okay. Fruitland is the first one. It's straight over from Crescent City on the river. And when you're going up past Fruitland, you come to the next town, it's Satsuma. Then it's Satsuma Junction, which was on the railroad. You're nodding your head. You've been all up in there, haven't you?
I've been in that area, yeah.
You ever been to this one?
No.
Well, you never been to Wildwood, have you? This Orange Homes, Bob Cawthorn told me about it. And I said, where's Orange Homes at? He said, you're supposed to be at least know where the direction the sun comes up. He said, you don't know where Orange Homes is? And I said, no, it's just before you get into Wildwood on the old road. You know where the old road turns off and goes into Wildwood? Orange Homes is right there. Orange Bend, everybody knows where that's at, I guess. There's Orange. That one there we just about give up on that one. And it's been old signs, there's nothing there. And the old sign's so old you can see where the hole's starting to rust in it. I don't remember what year we made this one. That's a Mineola Tangelo. Another Mineola Tangelo. These towns here now are yeah, can you get it? I'm all thumbs. Who are we up to now?
Groveland.
Wait a minute, there's 2 of them. He's shaking his head again. He's agreeing with me. Satsuma. That's on the St. Johns River up there where I was telling you, just north of Fruitland. Just before you get back on 17, you hit, well, Satsuma I think may be on 17, come to think of it. 301, just north of Hawthorne. And it was the home of the pineapple orange.
Right.
Then we got tangerine down there. Mama, help me. That's the earlier sign before they put the new one up. There's the tangerines. Temple Terrace is down in Tampa, and that's another project. We're going down there and get Mama to zoom her camera in on that bugger there and make a better picture. There's Temple Terrace. Okay, this is Mr. Hamlin. That's his home, and it's a museum now in DeLand. My best friend that got me started in this, Bill Driggers. I don't know if you ever heard of Bill or not, but he was a wonderful man. He forgot more history than I'll ever know. One of the nicest guys. He died here about, what, a year ago now, maybe most. Had old timers. Anyway, he was the head of this museum. There's parks down there in DeLand named Driggers Park and all that kind of stuff. And that's the Hamlin orange.
Fruit labels.
Well, that's a good question. I got a picture of a packing house here someplace. Where is it at? Beside it. And there you go with your label on it, see?
So
Is
that's
that
not,
the tissue?
is that the tissue one?
Yeah. Look in there and find. And you know Mr. Boyer? Bob Boyer? Okay. He and I've got a bunch of pictures of him. The last time I seen him, I said, you know, they ought to put us out on Mount Rushmore.
What
We're
was
both
looking
like
for?
this, and we look just a stone.
What town are you looking for?
Enterprise.
It's
Oh,
a picture.
Enterprise,
It's a
okay.
picture
I
of
remember
open air
Enterprise.
packing on Summerfield Orange,
Oh, okay.
and
And that's the naval, Summerfield Naval?
Summerfield Naval.
yeah, there's a story he wrote,
Okay.
and it's really a well-written article. That Summerfield Naval is one of the better navals, but the skin's so thin, it's hard to ship. But
No, it's not that, is it?
that's it. That's
Okay.
it. That's it. There you go.
That's Enterprise?
That's a packing house that was Enterprise. Now that's what you call an open air job. And that would, Bill told me that would have been probably about before the freeze in '95, sometime. And I gave Dixie one, and I gave my buddy Jerry one, but his is a reprint, and it says right across the front of it 14 different ways. Do not reprint it, you know. It came from the Hysterical Society in Sanford.
Okay.
All right, you may have it, do you?
Which one?
This one.
No, I don't.
Anyway, it's the most fascinating one of all the books I got. We're at Crow's Bluff, Mama. The big print, I don't even need my glasses to read that. See where it says, you ain't gonna print it. Bill Driggers gave me two of them. And they're both, I think he signed both of them for me. But it's in Crow's Bluff. Now I'm gonna read you something here I took off as an idea for the records. Wait a minute, that's when I doctored my tree. That's John Jackson's telephone number. Took St. Francis for an example, okay? March of 28th, 1895, trees show some sign of new growth, 6 foot up. 95, that was a freeze. That was the end of the book on it, as far as citrus went. Cassia, March of 24th, trees show some sign of growth, 3 foot up. They didn't know it, but they were dying. I went backwards on this thing. On November the 30th, 1894, Owens Brothers, young trees picked 1,000 boxes. Alexander Beard Packing House crews picked November the 9th, 1894, W.A. Dade picked Mr. Crow's crop. Large crop is all it said on that one. November the 5th, 1894, W.A. Dade picked Mr. Crow's large crop. We'll pick 500 boxes a day. That's a bunch of fruit. And it was all hauled out by steamship. W.G. Gregory picked Dr. Harris's big crop at Hawkinsville. 3,000 boxes. On October the 14th, 1894, Alexander Beard. I got A and B, so everybody knows what it stands for. Crow's Bluff. Don't know how many boxes I picked, a bunch of them. On the March the 1st, 1894, Crow's Bluff, orange groves were never looking better with a massive bloom. As you look through this thing here,
Where you wanna go to?
this is where I got it from. Each one of those dates, see how it says so and so and so. That was
Talk
the,
about orange groves.
it told how many hogs somebody killed. Somebody got bit with a rattlesnake. It's written in there. It didn't make it. Whoever it was, he's buried out there in the Spring Creek Cemetery again.
This is about oranges. But that's it.
Anyway, there's St. Francis, Sorrento, and Crow's Bluff.
That's all leading up to the 95 freeze?
All of them from the oldest one I think is 1882 up to about 1900, 1902, 1903. No, I'm wrong. It says 2000, 1900, this is 1800. 1912 I think was the last one.
Okay.
They had absolutely bellied up, all of them.
Do you want me to turn
St.
the
Francis,
page
there's
for
no sign of any life out there whatsoever. I used to fish out there. And I'm going to show you a picture of the packing house they had. It blew down in 1912. They had a hell of a hurricane. And it blew that thing right off the piling.
Wow.
I got one of the piling up there in the packing house. That thing is probably 100. The worms have eaten it about on the river at Hawkinsville.
Oh, well, okay.
Hawkinsville, when you cross the bridge out here at White Hare Bridge, is 2 miles down that way. There's nothing there anymore. Well, you know Rusty Weigel.
Oh, yeah, no, Rusty.
Okay, Rusty his family has a lot down there, and a tornado come through and blew it all away. And now they won't let them put it back. But Hawkinsville is too far, 2 miles up the river. St. Francis is 4 miles south of the river, going south on it. Well, you're going north, but you're going.
Go- Okay.
Remember, the river flows north.
Right, I forgot.
Packing house.
Because we'll pick up on it. Sorry. You sure you want to come back in here? No? Sorry.
Done. There's some more of the bob white. These are the ones. Mom and I went over and she stood on a railroad track and made these, listening for the whistle. Here's the Strom. That's their grave marker. And if you look, right here is a orange tree flowers. See them? That's where they made their money. And they probably at one time owned Walt Disney's uncle. A brother was born right out here about 5 miles from here in a little town called Kismic. And I've got pictures and all that kind of stuff of it. And his aunt was Mrs. Perkins. She was a postmistress in Paisley. And she also taught vacation Bible school, but you probably noticed it never took. But anyway, Walt knows was here, and a buddy of mine I went to high school with took his, whatever you want to call them, people, I guess, for lack of a better word, and showed them all the property all around from here to St. John's River. And 2 farmers wouldn't sell, Theodore Strom and a man named Mr. Ray. He owned 10, 15,000 acres too. Thank God they wouldn't sell it. Otherwise we'd be sitting up here in the middle of Mickey Mouse land. There's a picture to show you how old that graveyard is. How that old boy ever survived that, I don't have any idea. His name was Ben Griffin, and he was in the war of the Indian War. Then he was in the Civil War, and he died of old age.
Oh my gosh.
Theodore Strom's. There's a later. Excuse me. This is a newspaper clipping of the family, and this is what we tried to make the pictures of for the. We didn't get too far with them. That was printed in, I think. There's some of their labels. You probably got a lot of their labels, haven't you?
I have quite a few of them.
I don't have
many
any big
strips.
ones. They made some big ones, but These are stories about Nick.
Hold on. What was this one?
That's still standing. Here, let me get it right there read better.
Yeah.
That's Snyder Mule up in Crescent City.
Now this says Alexander Beard. So
No,
in fact-
Alexander Beard, I'm sorry.
That's
Snyder
okay.
Mule's up there, that's the next one down. Alexander Beard started back in the probably 1870s. And if you look on them paperwork that I showed you a minute ago, you'll find Alexander Beard was the one that bought that fruit from Owens Brothers and John Harris and all that bunch. There's one of their labels. I'm sure you got that one.
I've got that one. Yep.
If not, I continue. And he was on the board of directors of Alexander Beard. So the history on him. But like I say, from Highway 50 north, that's what my main interest is. Oh, okay.
You're fine, you're fine.
You done? Wiggle or something. Eve Weigel. You know Eve?
Is that Rusty's dad?
He owned the Altoona Pack Company. That's Rusty's uncle.
Uncle, okay.
And
Seen Lamp.
oh, that was in the depot.
Yeah, Joe also relieved Steve Johnson of the work at Confer Station. Mr. Confer built the packing house that later became S.A. Fields and Company. When S.G. Anderson and Company, Grand Island Fruit Company, and lastly Golden Gem Growers. So that was the lineage for Golden Gem Growers.
Mm-hmm. But tell how many boxes they wrote. They run over 1 million boxes through that thing a year. Does it say down in there, or is it back over there someplace? I thought it said in there.
It says, Banks Binsey was a good bookkeeper and of great help to us. Their target for each season was 1 million boxes. Their anticipated earnings were 1/4 cent per box. Henry Smith, maintenance supervisor, built most of the machinery. He built the first packing stands that allowed the packer to put the finished box into a conveyor, moving to the closer. Later he built the snapping turtle lawnmower.
Mom and I was married in '60, and it was burnt in '59 because we was going together. And they called me up and said the packing house burned. And that guy got black hair.
Now who's that in front of there? Do you know them? In front of the packing house?
Hmm?
Do you know who these people are in front of the packing house?
Yeah, Miss Peavy house. They were the state inspector. That was his family.
Okay.
And the next day, the state inspector come up, and you can see him on top of them box cars. And see the fire whenever they'd pull that hatch up, that thing would literally explode. Well, that was a heck of a fire. The old Harrison Wade packing house used to set the same way. Mom and the reason I put it in there, it has advertisements in it. And it's got advertisement of S.A. Fields and all of them. I think this was 1938, I think, or something like that. But
39, there it is, 39.
what year was it?
39.
This was on all the veterans. I meant to show you out there, one of those boxes says Calhoun fruit on it, and the Calhouns don't even have that box. And I kept after this old lady that had the drugstore, the hardware store. It gives you a reference. The packing house set right along. You can see the boxes back in here.
I'm in Lakeland though, at the Florida Southern College.
Yeah, I know it. But I figured Jerry would go back too and he hauled it to you.
He's given us a lot of stuff. I mean, we've got
Yeah, he's been, I know, that's the reason I give it to him. I said, here's one.
extra
Well,
calendars.
I wonder what about the picture out here that they painted for the signboard. That's who it was, Snowboy. Oh, no, that was Snow Crop.
And I love this label, Roxy.
You know her?
Well, that was his dog.
Uh,
That's what I thought. I mean,
Jim and I were very good friends. And this is the aerial photo of their groves. That's all shopping centers now.
Wow.
There's a bill of lading that they set out.
So I have some of the old. I can't see how much that one is.
There's this is all packing house South Lake.
Now, are those all the ones you went out and took yourself on those photographs? Is the one
That's a
of the-
pretty label
That
there.
is. I like that one too.
You probably got a fistful of them, haven't you?
I don't collect the small.
And they have a museum in Dunedin. You familiar with it?
I've heard of it, but I've not been down there.
You ought to go down there. They got it on Skinner. Now, he's the one that made the concentrate plant we had at Golden Gym.
I have a picture of that one on fire.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. There's his packing house down there. Mama made, they were very nice to us. And I give them, in return, I gave him some stuff. A picture of old Mr. Skinner. And his partner was Duncan. And Duncan was the guy that come up with the grapefruit. That inside, it changes that whole flavor of that grapefruit. And they're absolutely fantastic.
Well, my dad always used to put salt on. Dad was a Yankee.
Where from?
He was in Ohio, from up in Ohio.
That's worse yet. They can't even drive. This one here is an interesting one. I think there's a better picture in that one. Someplace. That packing house had just about completely fell in. And that was the South Lake Weir packing house, and you can barely see it. And Mama made that thing from about a quarter of a mile away because they got signs up there, we'll shoot you if you walk it through in here. Not quite. There's their label. That's a stock label.
Right.
But you see where they're from?
San Mateo.
And
John, I want to get a picture of that. I've never seen it.
I'm gonna have to check your pockets before you leave here, boy.
I'll swap you this one for that.
Oh, Eichelberger's in there. Did you see that one?
Lake Yale Groves, yeah.
Lake Yale is Eichelberger?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mr. Bob Eichelberger, when we had the boys ranch up here every year, and a lady named Mrs. Wells has this original. She was kind enough to let me make copies of it. But there's the size of the trees in 02 in San Mateo. There's another copy of the trees. There's another copy. And let me back up a minute. If you read this, they had it under shade cloth or so forth, and they could cover, I forgot what it was, the whole thing in just a matter of hour.
It was at 1 1/4 acres, it says.
Scott, that you won't enjoy, won't part with.
Earl Lundy. And that joker
Our
was,
son hasn't. He
I
will
told him I was
not.
going to write him out of the will. And he still wouldn't give me the damn knife. That's their packing house, what there is left of it. You know, Chris heard of a Paget. He's still living. Well, his son is. He's a lawyer in Crescent City, old man now. But they had a monster packing house. Mom and I got up there wandering around, and we found pieces of each one of the packing houses. Chase and Company and Clark out of Jacksonville was there. Paget, Snyder Mule. There's another one. I think Alexander Beard's right down there south of him a little bit. All right. You had Altoona Packing Company. You had Golden Gym. You had Seabrook, Seabury. All right. There was 1 million boxes packed there in that one packing house. Altoona Packing Company shot for about 75,000. Seabrook, he didn't. It was just a little. Going into Umatilla, had W.F. Austin on that side. Get on up the street just a little bit, where Nick's building that building, that's where W.F. Austin Packing House was. Go on up a little bit, Umatilla Citrus Growers on the right. Next to them was Umatilla Fruit Company. On the left-hand side was Arnold or Austin. After that, Bill burnt that one down, well then they built another one. He was worse than the old Weigel boys was. Turn that damn thing off. Anyhow, when you're going on out of town, you had Kimball. I've got their label. You seen their label in there a minute ago. You had Kimball. How many by name? 10? Within 2 miles? Harrison Wade was out there setting the wire of the road on the old road on Lake Eustis. Then you had, next one up would have been Eustis Fruit Company or the Eustis Packing Company. I've got their labels. They're pretty rare label, that Eustis Packing Company. I found 2 of them in Astor of all places. Asked them what they wanted for it, and they said $5 a piece, I think it was. And when they went down to Winter Garden, Evelyn Smith and I, Johnny and Linda are very good friends. I went to school with Evelyn, and she paid $600 for them. But she wrote it on that long stuff. That's the reason I don't have it put away.
Okay.
It's, anyway, we're gonna get down here to the good stuff in a minute. This was back in the 60s.
Now,
There's-
where
there-
was Astor at?
Astor, it's on the St. Johns River, and it's 19 miles north of here.
Okay.
It's one of the few crossings across the St. Johns that's anywhere. You got one in DeLand and one in Astor, and the next time you do it, it's at Palatka. We dive off that old bridge, the old turn bridge, you know, Mr. Lucas run it. And Lucas and Grahams and all of us was all, well, Edgar grew up here. And he wanted to play football, but he couldn't get the metal part. And put the damn metal part down, so when you go under the bridge house, you're crossing the bridge, you know. And Yankees voted me down about 20-1 on that deal. But I was at St. Francis. And John Harris built it, and he owned a big pill-pushing, bottle-making medicine factory in Pittsburgh. And he came down there about
Is Crosby
18.
Harris here? That John Harris?
Hmm?
Is this Crosby Harris? The John Harris with Crosby Harris?
There's some more letters. These are deeds, original deeds. I got over, I would imagine, between 500 and 800 deeds of 1800
Oh my gosh.
from Phil Owens. Old Phil, you know Phil, brother Phil. Phil Owens, you don't know him?
No.
How in the world could you ever escape him? Anyway, Phil called up here one day. He gave me 500 deeds dating from 1812 back. The original land grants whenever they were signed in 42 by his family. All of St. Francis, the whole work.
Where did he get them from?
Do I?
Where did he get them from?
His family. His dad was county commissioner.
Oh, he's,
And they went back. The Owens family is one of the oldest families around here.
Now, what,
It was on the St. John's.
is
There's
this one of the old freight boats?
Hmm?
Is this one of the boats that they used to ship the fruit on?
yeah, I think it may say something on there. I may have wrote something about it. I don't know.
Freight boat.
It was one of the freight boats. There's this thing with a medicine deal. This is where the boats landed. You can barely see it there. And over here is the packing house. And all the freight from out here came over there and went out here. You ever hear of Adrian Whitcomb? Well, they named Umatilla, the family did. And they were some of the earlier ones, and he was a great friend of Mr. Harris. There's the Harris family. Okay, here's a good picture of the packing house that blew down in 1912 with the hurricane. This is the one, all that fruit I was telling you about, that's where it was packed. And it was hauled, let me get something out here. And that was made in front of the Umatilla citrus growers. And you can put a magnifying glass. Them old boys now, they had their coat and towel on for this picture. I mean, it ain't like it was hauling fruit. But that's a mule train that went out of St. Francis. Am I gonna get paid anything for this damn deal, or is this a freebie?
now we're taking to lunch.
Oh,
Next
Mama,
week.
we're going to McDonald's.
Next week.
How the fruit got from here to the river,
Right there.
but do it like tell us in your words how it got from the packing house, like inland here, to the river and then up. To
Well,
the
a mule train. That was all mules on that picture there. And I've counted. I tried to count them one time. There's like probably 30 teams in that thing.
Now, were these hauling packed fruit
Yeah.
to the barges?
Well, they hauled also whenever they wasn't doing anything else. They hauled fruit from like Lake Yale and all back in there, you know, and they hauled it into the Umatilla citrus growers. The Umatilla citrus growers actually started in '03, I think, someplace right along there.
So the mule trains actually hauled the fruit from the grove to the packing house.
Yeah.
And then once it was packed, the mule trains then took it to the
Once a week.
to the
They
landing.
made a trip once a week, and when they was out there, they hauled freight from there back to Umatilla. So it was a multi-deal. It took them about a week to make the round, actually.
And then they went to Astor to load up the
No, they went to St. Francis.
St. Francis.
Hmm.
Where was that?
If you'd pay attention,
I got slow.
you're the only one I can get away with this. You know that, don't you?
Slow.
Anyway, if you went out Highway 42, and just before you get to the White Hare Bridge, there's a sign up there that said St. Francis Trail, I think it is. Mom and I went down there the other day. It's about 3 miles on the river, which would be down the river, going that way. And they had, was probably close to 25, 30 houses and big factories and all kinds of stuff like that. Paid for fruit and
bills of lading.
the hauling of it and so forth. I meant to show you upstairs. There I am when I had black hair. Upstairs, there's 2 newspapers up there called the Florida Facts. One of them is 1885 and one of them is 1887. And I carried them to Jeannie. Did you ever know Jeannie up at they're Elizabeth Yancey's? I said, they're my damn pictures. Anyway, she said, here's both your papers. And I said, the deal was I got one, you got one. She said, we put them on microfilm. We ain't got room for them. Take them home with you. And I'll need paper. Let me scoot right by here. You ever seen them kind of paper?
No.
Compliments of your taxes. You ought to enjoy it. I have 2 of these papers. I just grabbed one of them. What's the date on this one?
1909, I think. I can't tell. I can't tell. It's not far enough away. Give me your glasses. I'll tell you.
But you could buy beef. Bill Drigger's granddad was selling beef for ½ cent a pound. Excuse me. This is a list of all the freezes from when 65
1765.
up through
1983.
yeah. And I'm gonna tip that thing over and spot a heck. 35 was a stem winder. I'm telling, well, it's over here, it froze every year. The St. Johns River, I mean the Mississippi River froze over all the way out in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, wow. In 1835?
Yep, that's the coldest it was ever on record. The trifoliata and so forth. But in Charleston, South Carolina, before 1835, they were growing bananas, they were growing pineapples. Citrus was hundreds of acres of citrus right around Charleston. And after the freeze, it started going south. And that's the reason it got to Jacksonville and all these names of these towns. They was, well, when my grandfather moved here, he didn't move here in 12, but they started buying land down here in 12. He bought it from old man Charlie Giles, the landman, in a book, unsight, unseen. Bought Lake El Hammock, best damn grove land around here, you know. W.F. Austin planted it for him. He got, that's over in one of those books we probably ain't got time to look at. But anyway, he wrote a bill out from my granddad, 1917, I think it is. And he got $1 a day. The mule got $1.50 a day, and the other 2 guys got $1 a day for planting the orange trees. They planted Lugim Gong, and which was one of the better pieces of fruit there was that time. It was a Valencia orange. It didn't turn back green again. That was the purpose of it. Old Lugim Gong lived over in DeLand, and he's in that museum over there. That's where the Hamlin orange and all that.
Right.
And you know where Orange Lake is, going into Gainesville?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you know they run steamships across it?
No, I did not.
There's the anchor to it. They haul freight across there.
Had no idea.
A hole fell in it and it drained dry.
A sinkhole?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys know that?
That's why it's so shallow
It did it.
now.
It did at
It's a
Orange
very
Lake.
shallow lake.
Orange Lake done the same thing, but they got it dammed off. But it pretty near went dry when I was going to university up there. It had a heck of a hole in it.
This is all your stuff out there.
Yeah, 8 or 40 foot in it.
They call it on.
I don't even know how you put that thing on in.
Throw it up against the tree and it'll stay.
Oh, I know why you know. They're around, you know, they used to pick in baskets. You probably got a basket down there. Didn't John Vinehouse give you a basket?
No.
John Vinehouse gave one to, they got one down in Winter Garden. I thought he gave y'all one too. You know John, don't you?
Oh yeah, I know John.
You do it overnight. All the freight and all the Yankees back north. And this is the names of them. I've got it in the book in there. But this is how many was running. Not all of them by any means, but a lot of them. These are the ones that Francis D. Berry owned.
He owned quite a few of them then.
That's quite. I got some better pictures now of him at some place. There he is. He died in 1950. Stone deaf as a post, and I couldn't talk to him, and I wished I could communicate with him. Never could, because I wasn't old enough to write. 50, well, I was right, but not, you know, very old.
Right.
But he was born in 1862, got married in 82, and he moved to Madison, Georgia. And he worked for AT&T from the day one. And he built the first telephone line after the war between the states from Athens back to Atlanta. And he had all them Southern boys working for him, and he said that was an experience for a Yankee being
I'm sure.
down there, you know. Anyway, then he bought this land down here, unsight unseen, and eventually he planted the grove out. I don't know if I've got it in this book or where it's at.
You lit the tires on fire for freeze?
We fired these groves,
But using tires?
wasn't supposed to. We used fat lighter. EPA said something about that, but we never was much about reading. In 83, I hauled tires. She worked around the house with my mother, and she was a wonderful lady.
That's really neat.
There's a better picture of Miss Hattie, picking oranges. And she had buttercup snuff. You ever heard of that?
No.
You know what buttercup snuff is?
I know
It
it's
comes in
not
a can
bad,
about
but-
like that, about like how. And she'd pull her lip out there and put about a half a can in there. And when she talked to you, the dust just fly everywhere. There's my granddad. These are, when I applied for a license, this was,
Anybody's, it would have been the executive vice president, but I can't read who that is.
well, we were supposed to do something, and
Bobby McCown was still there, so that was 80.
he's still there.
No, he was back then, but this, I think this is prior to 80. Anyways, it's okay.
There's an old soul book. Soul. What year is that? Back in the 30s? Road. Nothing but railroad. This whole book here. Pictures, deeds, and the whole work. There's Pittman up here. This is my front yard. And I had dinner with this kid the other night. His black boy lives up here. We didn't have enough whites to play baseball. We go up there and get us 4 or 5, his sister and 2 or 3 more, Lonnie Barr. We all grew up together, and we go to hell for each other, you know. And I asked him about when we playing baseball. I stubbed my toe on that thing. It was buried out there. And I asked him here about 3 or 4 years ago. I said, "That damn thing laying in your front yard?" "Yeah." He said, "I wish you'd do something with it." I said, "Dig it up." So I had it restored. What that meant was A16. It was 16 miles from Pittman by rail back to Astor.
Oh, wow.
It's sticking in the corner out there in the house. This is a layout of Pittman. There's a work crew. That's all Henson's. They moved the railroad from narrow gauge to standard gauge from Leesburg to Astor, 42 miles one day.
Oh my God.
You know, they had their act together to pull that rail over that far.
Is that what they, are these?
They're all
for-
Henson's, that whole
but-
family.
But are those for citrus or is that for railroads, the implements? I can't,
Mhm.
are those scuffle hose or what are those that they have in their hand?
And he was the chief of staff. He grew up here in Umatilla. And this is a deed from his mother in 1890 something, I think. But he was the chief of staff for the Army in 1926 to 32, I think. and he was just an old boy from Umatilla.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was back there taking off bushel baskets, and you had to stack them. Old depot agent, old Steve Johnson, he wasn't about to stack no damn oranges. So if you go and brought them down there, it was up to you to stack them. And the way you stacked them, you take a bushel basket, set one down, and then next to beside it, you turned it upside down. And they were on an angle, so that would lock that whole thing together. They'd never move. You must have done that too, you're shaking your head. Anyway, then you layer them off and off and off and off and on. Well, I had a whole pickup load of them things, and I looked up, here come the train. Me sitting right across the track. Now, I was a hot-headed kid anyway, and I never outgrew it, I don't think. But anyway, here comes the damn engineer up there, and he said, how in the hell am I supposed to get through here? I said, you ain't going nowhere, I got to unload the fruit. Come on, help me. I'll be damned if he didn't get up there and help me, and we stacked it off, and then he went on his way.
That's really great.